everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Angie and today is Monday, April 3rd, and I'm going to be doing a meal prep today for this week. So I thought I would take you along with me and hopefully you'll get some good ideas for the week. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is start getting my vegetables and fruit ready for the week. These are just some raspberries that I'm washing for some muffins I'm going to be making. And now I'm going to start cutting up my lettuce for salads this week. And then once the raspberries are done, I'm going to soak the lettuce. But I like to cut it up first before I wash it. Now I'm starting some soft-boiled eggs. I like to keep these on hand for snacks and for breakfast in the morning. So I'm gonna make 8 of them. And I add 1 cup of water, put the lid on sealing, and then I set it for 4 minutes and makes the perfect soft-boiled eggs. So this is my raspberries that I'm draining off here. I'm going to spin those dry. It really is amazing how much water comes off of this stuff. Okay, now I've got the bowl ready for my lettuce to soak in. That's 2 heads of the romaine lettuce. Okay, this is my ice bath for the eggs when they come out so that they quit cooking. I usually let them sit in the ice bath for 5 minutes and then I'll go ahead and peel all of them. Now I'm going to go ahead and peel my eggs. I like having them peeled where we can just grab them. And they do peel pretty easy, but I'm noticing here it's easier to peel it under running water, so I'm going to go over to the sink and finish. Now I'm going to spin my lettuce dry. I usually get about 1/4 cup of water off of this. I like these food storage containers because they help keep your fruit and vegetables fresh. And I like to stick a paper towel in the containers because it helps absorb any moisture and it really does help the fruit and vegetables last longer. So now I'm starting some muffins, and I made these blueberry ones last week out of the Southern Keto Cookbook. But I'm changing it up a little bit this week and I'm using raspberries, and instead of vanilla I'm going to use almond extract. And these turned out so good. If you have a blueberry muffin recipe, try to use almond extract and raspberries instead of blueberries and see how they are. But these were so good. I mean, these were more like a cupcake than a muffin. And this recipe has sour cream in it, so it actually makes it a little richer. But I bought this cookbook on Amazon, and it has some really good recipes in it. So I'll leave the book in the description below. This recipe makes 12 muffins, so I actually ended up making a double batch. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get my pans ready. I like using these silicone baking muffin cups. Because I don't really have anything stick to these. This recipe, I always add a little more berries than what it says. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get started on my coleslaw. And I had cabbage to use up, so I'm actually doubling this recipe. But the original recipe calls for 4 cups of cabbage mix or shredded cabbage. And then 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. Since I'm doubling it, I'm going to use 1/2 cup. Those are the muffins when they come out. And then the regular recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And then 1 teaspoon of celery seed. A teaspoon of salt. And some pepper. And I don't have any powdered sweetener, so I'm using erythritol, and I'm just going to make it into powdered using my coffee grinder. So that's 1 tablespoon for a regular recipe. We're gonna mix that well. And then something this recipe doesn't call for that I like to put in mine is some bell pepper. I really like the flavor with it, and then instead of carrots it adds some bright color to it. I'm just gonna put the lid on and shake it up and let it sit in the fridge. Now I'm doing a low carb lasagna. And I'm making what I'm substituting for the noodles here. So you want to spray 2 9x13 pans and set them aside. And then 2 blocks of cream cheese that I softened in the microwave. And now I'm adding 4 eggs. So you want to mix that well. And then I'm adding 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and then some pepper, half of that into each pan, and you're gonna bake this at 350 for 8 to 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna start on my meat for the lasagna. So I'm just cooking a pound of ground beef. And I'm making my cheese mixture, which is 1 to 1.5 cups of cottage cheese, and then half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Then I add an egg to it and some basil. And then a pinch of salt. And I just mix that up. Here's where I decided to add a little more cottage cheese. So that's a little over a cup of cottage cheese. Now I'm gonna add my Rio sauce to my meat. That's what it looks like when it's done. So now I'm just going to start layering like I would a lasagna. So I put half of the cheese mixture on one of the cream cheese layers, spread it lightly, and then I add a layer of the meat sauce. I'm going to add some shredded cheese. Now I'm cutting my noodles here. Which these might come out a little easier if I would have let them cool longer. This one wanted to break a little bit. But they're still pretty hot. So. Spreading on the rest of the cottage cheese mixture and then the rest of the meat mixture. And then I'm just going to top that with cheese. And then you're just going to bake this at 350 for 20 minutes. These are some no-bake cookies that I'm making here that I have another video on that shows you how to make these, and I'll leave that in the description, but they're like the haystack cookies. Hi everyone, today's day 2 of our meal prep, so I'm getting ready to put some chicken wings in the oven. So I'm gonna bring you along with me. So I have my oven set to 400. Now I am lining my pans with aluminum foil, and then I'm gonna spray them with oil. I'm gonna start on the sauce that goes on the wings. So I'm doubling this recipe, but the original calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and this is for 2 pounds of wings. 4 cloves of garlic. Some pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon. 1/2 to 1 teaspoon red pepper flakes, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna mix that up. It also calls for lemon juice, but I add that later. 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. And then I use these racks because it helps make your chicken crispier if you put them on these racks. So now I'm gonna start dipping my wings in this and coating it. And then you want to have a Ziploc bag ready to put them in after you've coated them. Once that's done, you add 2 tablespoons of tapioca or arrowroot starch, and I'm using arrowroot here. And then I just seal the bag and shake it up so it's coated well. And then you want to put skin side down on the racks and make sure they're not touching. And then you're going to sprinkle them with 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some parsley, which just is something I decided to add to it. So you bake these at 400 for 40 to 45 minutes, but you want to stop at 22 minutes and flip them over. So for this recipe, I'm actually combining 2 recipes. So you want to have 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of salt, or 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, so now I'm pulling my wings out halfway through and I'm flipping them over. Then I'm going to sprinkle more of the Parmesan cheese and more of the parsley, and then I'm going to put them back in the oven for another 25 minutes. So back to my egg mixture, I'm just mixing the egg with the seasonings. So now I'm going to start on my pork panko, and I'm just using plain pork rinds. Which you need 2 cups. I'm adding a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to my egg mixture. You just want to process the pork rinds till they're kind of a fine crumb mixture. And then in a separate dish, you want to add 1/2 cup of coconut flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, but I don't think I used that much. I think I used 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon onion powder. I just decided to add another egg. And now I'm going to start dipping my catfish into the egg mixture and then into the coconut flour mixture. and then back into the egg mixture, and then into the pork rinds. And I have never used pork rinds for crumb top coating before, but this worked so well. I'm gonna definitely do it again. I mean, I was surprised at how well the coating stayed on. I've made fish before using almond flour, and it tends to burn and also fall off, but this worked perfectly. And it doesn't taste like pork rinds when you eat the fish. I mean, I was really happy with it. Flavor was really good. Now we're gonna fry this for 4 minutes on each side. And I'm just using olive oil. So what we made is raspberry muffins, coleslaw, lasagna, eggs, lettuce, no-bake cookies, chicken wings, and catfish. I really enjoyed this meal prep. Everything was delicious. I'll be back next week. Thank you for being here. Bye.